I mentioned before that DNA is a microdisc and all the basic information about life is encoded there. Thanks to the brain consciousness processor, all your characteristics, knowledge, talents, instincts, etc. recorded here are transferred to the next generations via sperm. For example, they like the same things, are afraid of the same things, do the same hobbies, and/or have the same physical structure, thin, fat, short, tall, etc. Therefore, they definitely resemble one of the partners in terms of appearance, temperament and instinct, of course, if they are monogamous and conceived through normal means. Children born from promiscuous relationships or due to some health problems have different blood and DNA. This confirms the genetic inheritance heredity phenomenon. Some doctors claim that diseases are not passed down from parents, but none of them have ever questioned the grandparents or their parents. When retrospective examination and DNA analysis are done, traces of this inheritance will definitely be found in someone. This is the reason why each of us has dozens of unanswered questions in our minds. This is the answer to the meaningless dreams we see. We too are experiencing the events that our ancestors experienced in the past, and while we are experiencing them, we remember that moment as déjà vu, but we do not know where or when it happened. There are traces of the past, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years in our DNA. However, since the DNA transferred to another body via sperm has to work with a new processor brain, it cannot adapt to this new environment within 70 to 80 years. That's why we die without remembering everything 100%. Maybe that's why our designers reduced the average human lifespan from 1,000 years to 120 years with a stop codon. So that he could not live longer, activate more information, and claim to be a god. Genesis 6:3 Then the Lord said, My spirit will not abide in man forever, for he is mortal. The lifespan of man will be 120 years. If DNA transfer could be made together with memory, brain, the person to whom the transfer was made would remember the entire past. Over time, when we learn something new, an awareness arises in each of us. As awareness arises, we discover ourselves. I'm sure this has happened to all of you. The Chinese, aware of this fact, have made loyalty to communism a condition for donations to the sperm bank. You experience whatever is in your DNA essence. When you go beyond that, your conscience kicks in and you say, I shouldn't have done that. Or vice versa. As human beings, we may have carried a wild DNA from the very beginning, the Adam, his wife and Lilith issue. That is why it is not possible for us to create a world consisting of only good people. And isn't that the current situation anyway? In order to create a good human being, it is necessary to create a new DNA from scratch and cleanse all people with the existing DNA structure. They tried this in the past with Noah's flood, but since the survivors had the same genes, evil dominated the world again.